Hey everyone, I'm gonna let you all know my experience working with Apollo. So, I still have Apollo around me, and there's still like a long way to go, but he has made quite a difference in my life, and I just wanted to walk through that. So, yeah, you can go check out my video on how to work with him on my channel, but this is the things that happened to me. So, on the screen, I have a video or a picture of a spell that I did with him. A lot of the spells I've done with him are centered around the sun and fire. So, that's just my experience. Most of my spells I've done with him have been through things like candle magic and, burning herbs and burning spices, things like that. So, some things that I've noticed through working with Apollo was a lot of things involving divination. So in his lore, you may know that Apollo taught divination to people, and that is something that I definitely noticed. Reading tarot cards became a lot easier for me, also looking at imagery, but I also learned a lot of other types of divination where people read rose petals. I kind of figured out how to do that a little bit. Even though it isn't my preferred method, I prefer tarot and oracle. That was just something that I had learned, as well as being able to have more ability to kind of see signs with messages through a lot of different things. So this could be things like through dream work, I had better results with pendulums, but also I had, how people do like crystal readings and stuff like that? That's kind of what I was able to do. So I learned a lot more with divination with Apollo, as well as manifesting intentions. That became a lot faster for me, I found, through working with Apollo, because of the way that I found. It was probably also because of the fact that I was doing everything centered around burning things and through fire. It made it a lot easier, and that's something that we know comes with speed. And also, I find Apollo is a fast worker too. He's a little, sometimes I feel like he did it for me because it was like a joke almost. So when I would say like, hey, like, I would point out something before I would go and leave the house, and then he would like make somebody kind of act out in a weird way to make me laugh. Like, he's kind of cheeky like that, but that's one thing that I really appreciated about him. So he is a little bit cheeky, but it's quite funny actually. That's a huge thing of what I have done with Apollo, as well as glamour magic. Actually, ironically, some things that I've done a lot with him have also been centered around glamour magic, because Apollo, the days I work with Apollo, are days that I am leaving the house and I'm having human interaction. He actually gets ready with me a lot in the morning, and that sounds weird. He'll like sit with me and be like enjoying the whole makeup process or the outfit choosing process, and that's something that him and I have been doing together. It's like, okay, what are we wearing today? We're wearing pink. Great. Let's do it. Are we wearing eyeliner? Let's do it. Let's be this cool, fierce witch, I don't know if anyone else does that with Apollo if you work with him, but that's just something that him and I have been doing, and it's been pretty fun, actually. I've really enjoyed doing it, and yeah, so doing a lot of glamour magic has been interesting, as well as things like I had better results when I would try to do things healing-wise when it came to herbs. I'm not against medicine whatsoever. It would just sometimes, you can't take things like for allergies, like Benadryl. You can't take that for a super duper long time. So natural remedies do have to kind of like step in a little bit, because you can't be on Benadryl for like a week or over a week straight, I think. So when it came to things like that, when it came to me, drinking teas with certain herbs in them, obviously make sure you're being safe if you choose to do this. Always talk to a doctor or whatever before doing anything. I always found that I had a lot better results with those things, and that my body was able to heal a lot faster. The way Apollo has been around me through things with like my health, as far as things like that revolved around, I've noticed a big difference in my body's healing processes. So, and it's not just specific to like how I feel as far as like, in my mood. It's to do with like sicknesses and stuff like that, which he definitely really kind of like amps up like the healing properties of anything that I am eating or drinking. So that's something that has always been really helpful. And I find also too, sometimes if you need a little nudge in the right direction, like for instance, for me, I'll get hives or something like that, and if you need to do something, he'll make it very like clear to you, whether that's through a YouTube video on your phone, about how to cure hives, or, even if you like take a nap sometimes, he'll tell you like in a dream, like you need to put a cold compress over like your hand or something like that. So that's something else I've noticed too, is that he's very much focused on very specific aspects in my life, which like I guess makes sense because he is like a god of like healing and medicine. But I know a lot of people have things where it comes to emotional healing, and that's a big part of why he did come to me. But I think also my physical health needed a bit of a check. So I think if you resonate with some of the things involving like health concerns, and maybe you just need somebody to kind of like pray to for maybe a little bit of like guidance or even some hope in situations, because I've had some health problems and, from like allergies and other things like that. And he's definitely I have a bad habit of calling deities people and stuff like that. But he is definitely a deity that will really help you kind of get into the right mental space for it as well. Because I find that even though I don't necessarily believe you think bad thoughts and that affects you completely in a physical way, if that makes any sense, a good mindset is very beneficial to your healing process. And I found that he focuses on both. So if you start to kind of get in a bad mood or feel a little bit hopeless, he'll be like, hey, like let's like go do yoga or something like that, and he'll do it with you, and you'll feel like 1,000 times better when you're finished. And I think also too, because there are some days where obviously you have to kind of like chill out and, not really move. One thing that he has also encouraged me to do is do a lot more things and involving creativity, but also my learning. He was one of the deities who encouraged me when I wasn't doing any work, like for anything. He was very much into reading and things like that, which, finding a topic of interest is obviously going to be different to everyone. But for me, I enjoy reading about other aspects of witchcraft. Like obviously I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have now if I didn't read a lot about it, but reading topics of interest, reading about, myths and like mythology and anything that you find interesting, even like crystals, or if you find wellness and fitness really interesting, that's something that he obviously greatly appreciates and something that he will encourage you to do. And I spent a lot of my time with Apollo learning, actually, rather than doing a bunch of crazy and elaborate spells, which I think was a good thing, because I think he really helped me like shift my mindset towards like, oh, I don't have to do all of these things to be a witch. It was more so about learning and having knowledge rather than just being able to cast like 1,000 different spells, which in the end can be helpful, but not necessary. So yeah, that was kind of my experience with Apollo. We're gonna start doing weather magic pretty soon, which I'm really excited for. And yeah, so that's something I'm gonna start learning with him, which is gonna be fun. But yeah, that's been my experience with Apollo, and I'm sure things will probably remain the same until he leaves. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if it was helpful, like, subscribe, whatever, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!